Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. So today I have Aletha joining me. Hey, Aletha.
Hi.
Hey guys, we have a really exciting video I've seen on Reddit and a bunch of comments that people always asking, how do I feel it real? How do I actually feel it real? Especially if I've never felt it before or never had it before. So we are actually going to go through this and I'll give you some tips and pointers of how you can actually feel it real. Just before we dive into it, guys, Aletha's coaching is 50% off right now. She is absolutely amazing, as well as, I know you guys manifested this, is we have a course, a free course, how to find your blocks to manifest anything fast. The link is in the description below for both. So we're really excited. So let's dive into this. So how to feel it real when you haven't actually felt it real before. So I think the big thing here for everybody to understand, and me and Aletha were just talking about this, is that the whole basis is your words. Your words, your thoughts create your emotions, and they also create the pictures in your subconscious mind. So if I was to say Jerry hates me, that doesn't make me feel very good. And now I've just created a mental picture of that. And now Jerry has to show up that way. But if I was to say Jerry loves me, and then all of a sudden, actually that felt a lot lighter. And then all of a sudden I create this picture of Jerry smiling and his little teddy bear, monkey teddy bear looking at me, right? So, you know, our thoughts create our emotions. And if we want to feel it real, that's the whole basis of it right there. Like 100%.
Right. And anytime that you have something that you want to experience in your life and you've not experienced it before, as you said, it's just a matter of projecting yourself with your mind into how would I feel? What would I be saying? What would I be doing? You know, who would I be interacting with, you know, and look into all of that into the future. And what would you feel? And when you get those thoughts, well, I would feel this. Well, then a thought comes with that, or a feeling comes with that thought. So you create your feelings from your thoughts. And in order to create a scene that you want or a future that you choose, you create the thought first and the feeling comes with that. And then you stick with it. We have to have a strong mental diet.
Well, exactly. You know, and I think the other important thing, you know, is the subconscious mind. You know, sometimes people think it's this thing that's just like, who knows what's in there, and it's so mysterious, but it really isn't. Basically, it follows your orders. It doesn't think what's right or wrong. It doesn't think what's good or bad. It just follows your orders. So if you want to know what's been programmed into your subconscious mind, just take a look at what's reflecting back to you in your 3D reality. Your 3D reality is going to tell you exactly what's being reflected back in your out of your subconscious mind. So like, for instance, right, I've got a story, right, that nobody carries cash anymore. And I was intending to find money on the ground, cash on the ground, but I think everyone carries plastic. So one day, guess what happens? I find a gift card, and it's actually like, it's sitting like in a really weird place, like basically on a parking line. So obviously it fell out of someone's car. So I picked it up. I went to that grocery store and it was $200 on that gift card. Now, when I was intending I was going to find cash, why didn't I find cash? Well, I had another story that people don't carry cash. They only carry plastic. So my manifestation had to come in the form of plastic. By the way, I intend whoever lost that basically gets like tenfold the amount of money back. Okay. I mean, I don't want my manifestation to leave somebody else feeling like without, right? So I intend that, you know what, they got like 10 times more back. But so my point is, right, is your subconscious mind is going to fulfill what you want within the beliefs you've already given it. So I think it's so important. People call this bird before land, but I actually call it like partial manifestations where, okay, so why didn't my full manifestation of finding cash show up? Okay, well, I've got a story that no one carries cash. I would need to change that thought to people always carry cash. I always find cash on the ground. Okay, change that. Okay, so again, if anyone loses money, I intend they get 100-fold back. Okay, but that's just my example. So, you know, you take a look at what's reflected back in your 3D and you say, I want to keep this. I don't want to keep that. I want to throw that away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And you become the observer of your thoughts. You really need to be the observer of your thoughts. And I think that we're not really conditioned to do that, but we need to change that mindset, that intention, or that assumption that I'm not conditioned to do this, so I'm not. Well, of course not. But we are good. But if we set an intention that I'm conditioning myself, or I am the observer of my thoughts, and when we do that, we'll start catching ourselves. I do that all the time. I catch myself constantly, like, oops, no. And then I go to what I really truly want, not the whatever might have been the negative thing. So yes, we need to be the observer of our thoughts. And then you're right. it shows up in our 3D. Subconscious only pushes out what we put in. It doesn't sit there and think, well, should she or should she not have this? Is this good for her or not good for her? It doesn't do that. It is whatever we put in there, consciously or unconsciously, it's going to come out.
Right. Exactly. And the term subconscious sabotage, well, no, it was conscious sabotage. You know, there's been enough, whenever something gets subconsciously sabotaged, there's been enough thoughts. Like, for instance, like, you know, I used to say that before I started my business, I was like subconsciously sabotage myself. No, I consciously did it. And, you know, it was basically a good 6 months of not wanting to be at my job and wanting to start a business, but not wanting to actually take the steps in the 3D to actually do it, to the point where it was like make it or break it time. Like, you know, I was on the verge of getting fired because I created that, right? With all my negative thoughts and all my negative story and all my not wanting to be there, you know, and when we start to notice ourselves subconsciously sabotaging, we need to stop and go, okay, look at, like, what do I really want here? And, you know, start really taking the steps to get there, because you're consciously doing it. You need to be on top of your thoughts, because when you feel it real, it's easy to feel real. You just start thinking like you already have it. If I had this, what would I think? If I had this, what would I feel? You can call in feelings to yourself. I feel like I'm in a relationship. I feel satisfied with my life. I feel loved from this person. All right. And they show me, they do actions that make me feel loved. Right. So just by putting your thoughts to the end that you want, you're going to feel it real. Like, for instance, right? Have you ever been nervous about a job interview and thought, oh, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it. Well, right now, in that moment, you're feeling it real of rejection, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I was just thinking, I had an example the other day at Christmas with a family member who is in the medical field. Nonetheless, thinking that the day after Christmas was going to be horrible at work. I've been thinking this for months, the person said. Guess what? I texted them to say, I hope everything's going fine. It was a horrible day. Well, why? Because for months, they said, they acknowledged to me because that they had been thinking for months it was going to be a horrible day. And of course it was, because that was what was conditioned, or what she programmed into herself. So, and it came out. And so we can do the opposite. And that's the cool thing. So we do maybe not always catch our thoughts, and something negative comes out, or we look at our 3D and it's not something that we like. We know that we have the power to change it and we can, with positive affirmations, with affirmations that are in alignment with what we want. The key is to first figure out, what do you want? What do you want your life to look like? And you don't want what you're seeing, possibly, but then what do you want? Be specific.
Exactly. So when you're sitting there journaling, going through what your life's going to look like when you have this thing, in that moment, you're feeling it real. Okay. When you're having a positive thought in line with your end goal, you're feeling it real. Okay. So you're always feeling everything real. Okay. So that's how I look at it. Every thought I have, I'm feeling it real. Now, is my thought negative and living in rejection land? Well, if it is, then I'm feeling that real. If my thought is positive, living in alignment, meaning my thoughts are in line with what my end goal is, and I'm seeing everybody as the person I want to see them in line with my end goal, then I'm feeling that real. Right. So if you're having any thought you're having, you're feeling whatever thought you're having as real. Because the only thing that is real is your thoughts. Okay. The 4D is the only real thing that's actually happening. That's the only tangible thing for you. Okay. That's the only thing. Everything else in your 3D is basically delayed a little bit, right? Even by like a second, a millisecond. Okay. I think it's also important to know, like, how your subconscious mind works is basically you create a belief. How do you create a belief? You have a thought, okay, you sustain a thought over a period of time, okay, and then basically as you keep telling yourself, you start to believe it, but when the belief really crystallizes is when it manifests in your reality. Now that thought, and you see it in your reality, boom, total 100% belief. But as you're telling yourself that every day up until when it manifests, you're building that belief. You're building that belief, okay? And once it manifests in your reality, that's when you can be sure that, okay, I've reprogrammed my subconscious mind to now think that that's shown up. You know what I mean? And then you still have to stick with it, because just as quickly as you created that, you could change it. Same thing with the bad thing. Just as quickly as you've created something bad, you can create something good, right? It's just a matter of, like Aletha said, being an observer rather than a reactor to your environment, right?
Right. Yeah. And I have clients who will tell me, and I've seen this in my own world too. Of course, we all have the hot and cold behavior. Well, why? It's what you just said. You know, I've got this intention. I'm building the belief. I'm building all of this up. And then for whatever, and I see it and there's proof and it's cool. And then maybe I relax or somebody says something or something triggers me. And then I go back into some of my old programming, I slide into that. And then we see in our 3D that the person all of a sudden ghosts me again, you know, if it's your SP. And just get back up on your story again, get back on your mental diet. No, you know, they love being with me. They always want to be with me and continue what you were doing when you slip a little. Because it's not wrong. It's just a matter of capturing our thoughts while being observant of our thoughts and then making sure they're in alignment with what we want. And if for whatever reason we start to manifest something that we don't want, we can change it, have a new thought. Exactly. And feel it real. That, you know, that's brilliant. You know, that you're either way, you're feeling it real, because that's the way it works.
I know. It's like, it's not like, okay, I'm manifesting today. No, every minute of the day, you're constantly manifesting. You can't turn it off. The only thing you can start doing is driving your bus. We say that's our famous line in neurolinguistic programming. As practitioners, the question is, who's driving your bus? Okay, is it you, or is it your emotions? Is it your reactions? Is it your negative thoughts? Is it other people? Like, who's driving your bus, right? And it's you. And it's really important that you put in a clear destination. Get clear on what you want, okay? Because if we're not clear on what we want, we're going to be all over the place, okay? So, you know, pick your goal, okay? And, you know, and really get clear on it to the point where you don't have any guilty feelings. You don't have any feelings of this or that, right? Get clear on what you want. And once you're clear on what you want, then, and you feel good about it, then it's easier to keep all your thoughts in alignment and you won't get the hot and cold behavior, right? But either way, you're always driving your bus, right? You know, and so it's just be on top of your thoughts. Like, you know, all the other techniques are great, SATs, like scripting, all of it, they're great. But the main thing is, it doesn't matter if you do subliminals every night. If you've got a bad mental diet during the day, you're canceling out all that hard work. Okay, there's no way around a mental diet. I'm sorry, there isn't. Intend it's easy, intend it's fun, intend you enjoy it, because that's the only way to get anything, is watching your day-to-day thoughts. You can't, you know, basically do subliminals and SATs at night and then check out during the day and have a bunch of negative thoughts. I'm sorry, it's not going to work. I wish it did. It doesn't. Been there, done that, tried it, got the t-shirt, doesn't work.
Right. And that's where our power is. It's in our thoughts. And
exactly.
I often, you know, we think or fall into the belief that my thoughts control me, that they're so strong and they're powerful, but that's not true. You know, you know, what you just said was beautiful and brilliant. And you just can intend that my thoughts create the life that I want, and be sure what you want and observe all that and everything we just said. And yeah, because your power is really in your mental diet. And exactly. And that's what I tell my clients too.
Exactly.
Suffering, you have to look at what you're thinking.
Exactly. And, you know, and that's where, like, you know, coaches really come in handy, or anyone that you have in your life that knows it, because they can hear your story and hear maybe where you're missing some of your blocks, you know, and, you know, and, you know, that really does help out to speed it up, you know, when you've got somebody that knows, you know, what thoughts need to be in alignment, how, and, you know, and sometimes we have blind spots and we just miss them and we think, oh, with that thought, you know, if you're manifesting something like getting rid of, you know, a third party, you know, and you feel guilty over the kids, well, yeah, that's going to block your manifestation right there. You may not know it. Somebody else that's, you know, experienced with this may be able to point that out for you, right? So, you know, whether it's a friend that you have that's really good at it, or, you know, a coach or something, you know, sometimes, you know, sharing that old story and getting it out in the environment of somebody's going to help you clean it up is very, very helpful, right? You know, it's good to talk about things to the point to find out where you need to change your thoughts. You know, I was just the other day, I was like ranting about something and Andrea was like, well, that thought's not very, and I was like, oh, you're right. That's not a good thought. Like, whatever. I'm like, shut up. Right. But of course he was right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And sometimes we just need a coach is a good person who can, or like an Andrew can just sometimes like, hey, they catch it for you, you know, or maybe we have this assumption. So many people have assumptions that they have to live by what the person, the third party or the SP is saying. And that's not true, because they're only saying and reflecting back the thoughts we put out to them. And that because they overhear our thoughts all the time. So whatever we're assuming they're going to think and say, that's what they'll say. And we're not conditioned by anything. We are in control.
Exactly. Exactly. We're the drivers of our own bus. My bus is yellow. It's one of those old yellow school buses, you know, the Blue Jay ones with a little bird on it, you know, bluebird buses or something. Yeah, it's a yellow bus. Okay. A long yellow bus, not a short yellow bus, a long yellow bus.
That's so funny. That was the same picture I had.
It's empty. It's just me in that driver's seat. The rest is empty because I live presently in the moment, right? But, you know, so guys, just to recap, feel it real is your thoughts, okay? So whatever thought you're having right now about your situation, that's what you're feeling real. So if you want to feel something real, start focusing on what you're going to do, have, hear, say, feel when you have what you want. You know, script out the image, script out what your life's going to be like. And in that moment, you're feeling whatever you're scripting as real. So, you know, it's as simple as what's your thought right now? That's what you're feeling real. So I intend that helps everybody. Thank you so much, Aletha.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And guys, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.